welcome to the 6th video of my Vlogfolio, my presentation of all of the things that I've learned in graduate school. In this video, I'm going to talk about the teaching certificate that I'm also pursuing in alignment with my College Student Services Administration degree. So the certificate is called GCUT, or Graduate Certificate in College and University Teaching, which is quite a mouthful, so you can understand why we call it GCUT. But this is something that I chose to do in my second year of my master's program. I actually learned about it right at the beginning of graduate school, and I was looking back at some things I had written from my very first term of school, and I was already planning and talking about this certificate as something that I wanted for myself. And so I applied for it in the spring of my first year and was accepted and started coursework for the certificate in my second year. And so this is an 18 credit certificate. I took several additional courses along with my CSSA courses in order to fulfill the certificate. And as part of our College Student Services Administration program, most students select a minor or an area of specialization. And so in lieu of either of those things, I chose to pursue this certificate. And so the courses that I took for that certificate were Theories of Teaching and Learning, Course Design and Methods, Capstone, which was sort of a final portfolio for the certificate. I also took 2 electives, which was a Leadership Skills for Career Development course, as well as I also counted our Student Development 3 classes from CSSA toward my elective work for the certificate. Along with all of those in-class courses that I took, I also pursued an internship as part of my certificate, and I had done several other internships with the CSSA program, which you can hear all about in the previous video I posted. But the internship that I did with GCUT was specifically focused on teaching. And I'm going to talk all about that experience in this video. And that's going to be the primary content of what I talk about here, mostly because I was able to really practice a lot of the things I was learning and apply those to an actual classroom. So I want to start out just by talking a little bit about why I wanted to do a certificate in college and university teaching. I think I mentioned in the first video that I spend a lot of my time convincing people that I am not going to be a university teacher. Oftentimes when I tell them that I'm studying higher education, they just assume that I'm going to be a professor and I'm going to teach. And so I spend a lot of my life telling them that student affairs in higher education is actually not teaching in the classroom. And then I went ahead and applied for this certificate program so that I could get a certificate in teaching, which confuses people even further. The reason that I applied for this certificate, though, was because I found that there was a lot of intersection between academia and student affairs, and a lot of the responsibilities of student affairs practitioners actually does revolve around either traditional teaching in a classroom setting, or can be sort of, you can utilize these transferable skills like facilitation techniques when you're developing programming and things that you're delivering to your students. So I knew that I enjoyed teaching. I knew that I liked being able to share knowledge with people, and particularly with students. And so I pursued the certificate because I saw a way for me to become a better facilitator, to gain some confidence in front of a classroom, to deliver a message, to develop curriculum, but also because while all of those skills are transferable to things like program development and advising, I also have been seeing a lot of job positions that are asking student affairs practitioners to teach like an introduction to a university course, or academic preparedness skills, or career decision-making skills. And so I wanted to be able to really be the best teacher that I could be, which is why I pursued the certificate. So the internship that I did with the GCUT certificate was, I was actually teaching a course called Career Decision Making. I had actually taught this course once before. I taught it the spring of my first year of graduate school, And then I did the internship course associated with it in the winter of my second year of graduate school. So this course is primarily first-year students who are undecided in their major. At OSU, they are part of a program called Undergraduate Exploratory Studies. So one of the things that an exploratory studies student can do is take this course about career decision making. And we go through a exploration model. We talk about all of the things that can help a student on their way to choosing a major and choosing a course. We do a lot of understanding yourself. We do personality assessments, and then we share resources and things that will sort of be helpful for the student as they're exploring a career. And so I taught this course. It was taught twice per week, and I had a class of about 20 students, and this was a really great experience for me because as part of the internship, I had to record myself teaching. I had to have people from the internship course observe my teaching and give me feedback. And I also had to share my own experiences as a teacher with the other graduate students who are receiving that certificate. So this was a really great opportunity for me to lay my teaching out there and let people criticize it, and for me to get better. And I had already taken the Theories of Teaching and Learning course, and I had started to get all of these ideas of things that I wanted to employ in the classroom, things that we had used in my classroom, or ways to apply different theories to student learning. And so to have this opportunity to do the internship and also receive feedback on the activities and the way that I facilitate things was really helpful for me. So while GCUT is its own program with its own learning objectives, I did want to relate the things that I learned in GCUT to the CSSA competencies. And I actually think that there are so many ways that these two programs connect really well. But the first competency, which talks about knowledge and understanding of higher education and student affairs, I think GCUT was really helpful for me in this area because it gave me a broader experience at Oregon State University. That first year of graduate school, I pretty much stayed in my bubble. I took mostly CSSA courses. I interacted with primarily CSSA faculty and students. And being in GCUT allowed me to meet people outside of CSSA all across campus. Our faculty in GCUT are actually in multiple different academic colleges, and then the students who are receiving the certificate are pursuing degrees from biology to kinesiology to philosophy. And so I was able to meet these students and learn their techniques for teaching that I never would have kind of encountered in my CSSA experience without, stepping outside of that bubble. I also felt like I got to learn all about a bunch of different functional areas that I hadn't interacted with in my CSSA studies. And because GCUT is sort of coming at higher education from this teaching and this classroom standpoint, I was able to really understand different areas of the university and get just a little bit of a broader look. The second CSSA competency focuses on professional skills and organizational management. I learned a lot about my own leadership style in relation to classroom facilitation, and I also got to see a lot of my other GCUT classmates, present their own teaching styles to me, and I think this has helped me understand the type of facilitator and the type of teacher that I'd like to be. It's also helped me to understand all of the different types of teachers that are out there and the ways in which teaching and academia is actually growing and changing as we move into this modern age. There are so many innovative things that are happening with the way that we can lecture to 500 students and still make it feel individualized. And there's also this whole new platform of online learning that's happening. And I think being in GCUT has helped me be a little more understanding of all of those different leadership styles that are out there. The third CSSA competency, which is knowledge and understanding of student populations and student development, is actually one that I feel I've gotten a really deep understanding of through the GCUT program. I've been able to apply so many theories that I learned in our Theories of Teaching and Learning class for the GCUT program to the work that I'm doing as a student affairs practitioner. The particular theory that I want to dive into a little deeper is actually andragogy, which I mentioned in a former video when I was talking about conferences. I got a really deep look at the theory of andragogy as well as self-directed learning, and I'm going to put links to those in the description of this video. But andragogy is sort of the answer to pedagogy, which is a word that we hear a lot. Pedagogy is sort of the art and practice of teaching children, and andragogy is the art and practice of teaching adults. And it was Malcolm Knowles who created this theory of andragogy when he realized that we can't actually teach adults in the same way that we teach students. There are so many other factors that come into play. And so andragogy works to engage the adult learners in their own learning and comes at their approach to teaching from not necessarily a person of power and a person without power, but comes at it as more of a level playing ground. And in the description of this video, I'm going to include information about andragogy as well as some artifacts of my learning and the work that I did in that Theories of Teaching and Learning class. The fourth competency of CSSA focuses on delivery of student services, and it primarily talks about using data and practicing assessment to inform your future programming and to understand the needs of the students in the programs and the services that you're providing. In GCUT, we talk a lot actually about assessment and learning objectives as they relate to curriculum design. And in the Grad 561 class, which focuses on developing course design and curriculum design, we went through a whole week where we talked about assessment, and we started the beginning of the term talking about learning objectives, and then we moved into assessment tools for the classes, and oftentimes we think of exams or papers or projects as the only forms of assessment, but in this book, Understanding by Design by Grant Wiggins and Jay McTeague, we learned a lot about different assessments that are out there, and there are 6 different facets for building assessments of understanding and so many ideas for ways that you can assess a student's learning. So while the CSSA competency focuses on using that assessment to deliver student services, I think it also relates to course design because we've learned assessment tools for classes that will then inform the way we work as teachers. And I think that both of these fields are actually, though there's no hard line between them, I think the assessment tools that we use in course design can be used in program development for student affairs practitioners and vice versa. The 5th competency, which focuses on the developing professional, is actually very relevant for me as well. I had always known that I enjoyed teaching and I enjoyed facilitating conversations, but in taking the GCUT program, I've learned that teaching is something that's important to me, and being a good teacher is something that's important to me. And so when I am looking for jobs and seeing job descriptions posted that have some aspect of teaching, I'm getting really excited about those. And I think a lot of that has to do with the things I'm learning in GCUT and the ways that I'm seeing for growth in academia and for instructors, and I would love to be a part of that at some point in the future. So that is it for this video regarding my GCUT certificate. Thank you so much for watching. In my next video, I'm going to wrap up all of the thoughts that I've had in these videos and provide some acknowledgements and food for thought as we move forward. Thanks for watching. Bye!